Hey everybody, so we're back, and I have a brand new RPG that I want to try out. Isn't that fancy? Got some nice fancy little explosions, and all that good stuff. And I also have a brand new pistol, so let's try that out. I'll drag that onto our script, and hit play. And we have a pistol now. Alright, so basically what we're going to be going over in this tutorial is we're going to be extending that base weapons class that we created. We're going to be creating new weapons from it, and you're going to find that the code is going to be really modular and really easy to extend and create new weapons from. Alright, so the assets I'm using in this tutorial, the pistol and the RPG, can both be found on the asset store for free. The RPG is one of Unity's assets that they tossed up there themselves, and the pistol, I can't remember what the username is, but I'll toss that up in an annotation or something. Alright, so what we're going to do is, before we get started, we're going to fix one small little issue with a script in the old tutorial, or the last one. So we'll just open up our base entity class, and we're just going to make one really tiny change. Alright, so in the strip function, we're not checking to see if there is an audio source on our base entity before we're playing it, so that's just what we're going to do. So just if audio is null, we're going to add an audio source. So GameObject.addComponent audio source. Alright, and that'll just make sure that we have one attached to our base. Alright, so now that we fixed the issue with the base entity, we're going to open up our base weapon script, and we're going to make some modifications to it so that it's easier to extend from and make other classes like the machine gun or the pistol or RPG. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make or introduce a keyword called abstract. And basically what abstract does is it tells the code that this class cannot be instantiated on its own. So the usefulness of this is you can use this as just a base class like we're intending to, and we don't have to worry about people accidentally instantiating something that isn't complete. So and our base weapon isn't complete. We're going to be using base methods here and setting some variables and stuff like that are going to be used in all future weapon classes, but for the most part the base weapon itself is not complete, and we don't want people to just be able to use it. Alright, so what we're going to do as well is we're going to add in an additional audio clip, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually introduce ammo to the weapon, because we don't want all of our weapons to have unlimited ammo, right? So the audio clip is going to be for the out of ammo sound effect. Alright, so like before, we're going to do serialize field, if I can spell it right, field. Alright, protected audio clip, because we don't want other people to access the audio clip, but we do want the extended classes to. So audio clip, out of ammo audio. Alright, and yeah, so there's our out of ammo sound, and now we're going to make the variables for the ammo. Alright, so we're going to go protected int, and that'll be our current ammo, and we'll just give it a default value of, say, 10, why not? And we're going to make a property for this field. And the reason we're doing that is just because we want to be able to add in functionality if current ammo is set. Let's say we want an event to be fired or something like that. You can do that with properties, Alright, so we'll make our property, so public int current ammo with a capital, and we make our braces, and we'll make our get statement where we just return current ammo. I might want to spell current ammo right. Alright, and set, and we'll just go current ammo equals value. Alright, so it's just a really generic property right now because we're not actually filling it in with anything. But down the road, if we wanted to, we could have just random functions going on in our little set here, and every time we set the current ammo property, these functions would be called, and it would all be just kind of encapsulated under just the current ammo property. Alright, so the code would be a lot more readable and things would be going on without you having to explicitly call them. Alright, so there is our current ammo property. And before I forget, we do want to be able to edit current ammo from the editor, so we're going to add our serialize field attribute. Alright, and we're also going to include a maximum ammo field and property because we don't want to be able to hold an unlimited amount of bullets. We want to have some sort of limit on that so it's not ridiculous. So we'll have our serialized field attribute, protected int maximum ammo, and we'll set that to 20 or not. And just like before, we will make a property. So maximum ammo, and this one is just going to be a read-only property. You don't really want to have people modifying the maximum amount of ammo that a gun can have through code, because things can get kind of wonky and unbalanced. So maximum ammo, oh yeah, get return maximum ammo, right? And we're going to include one more variable in property, and it's going to be a gan serialize field, protected int, and weapon damage. Alright, so now we're going to set up the weapons to have specific damage for each type. We'll just 10, sure. And we will make a read-only property for this as well. So public int weapon damage with a capital, and we're just going to return weapon damage. Alright, so remember, like I said before, this has a set, so we can actually set the value using current ammo. These don't, so if you try and set the value, you'll get an error. Alright, and now that we have weapon damage, we're also going to introduce a weapon cooldown, because we don't want you to be able to shoot an RPG as fast as you can click the mouse button. That just is ridiculous. So we're going to go protected float, weapon cooldown, and set it to 0.3. We'll just say you can shoot the weapon every 0.3 seconds. And before I forget, serialize field, because we want to be able to edit that in the editor. Alright, and we're going to have a Boolean value as protected bool, and it's going to be called can fire. Alright, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to fire the weapon, and we're going to tell the weapon that it can no longer fire. We're going to wait until the weapon cooldown is up, and then can fire will be set to true, and you can fire the weapon again. Alright. Alright. Now, in the future, we're going to be, actually the next tutorial, we're going to be introducing weapon pickups. So we're going to get a function ready for that. And it's going to be called the add ammo function. Now, we could do set the ammo through current ammo using the pickups, but it's going to be a lot easier, and it's going to flow a lot better if we make a specific function for just adding ammo and not setting the value. Alright, so we're going to go with a public method, and it's going to return an int value. And it's going to be called add ammo, and it's going to take a parameter that is the number of bullets. Right, so the difference between this add ammo method and just setting the value between with current ammo is what we're going to do here is we're going to take the number of bullets parameter, and we're going to check the difference between our current ammo value and our maximum ammo value. And if the number of bullets is less than the difference between the two, we're just going to increase our current ammo value by the number of bullets, and we're just going to return 0. But if the number of bullets is greater than the difference between the two, like let's say you have 17 bullets and the maximum you can hold is 20, and the number of bullets you're adding is 5, there's going to be 2 left over, and we want to return that value so that we can set that value in the weapons pickup so you can come back and get those 2 bullets later, or something like that. Right? So that's basically what the add ammo function is going to do, and that's why we're doing it this way instead of just doing it through current ammo. Alright, so basically what we're going to start with is an if statement. So we're going to go if our current ammo plus the number of bullets is greater than the maximum ammo. Right? So we're checking to see if, well, our current ammo plus the number we're adding is greater than our maximum. Alright, and if it is, number of bullets is minus equals maximum ammo minus current ammo. Alright, so basically what we're doing is we're subtracting the difference between maximum ammo and current ammo from number of bullets. Alright, and then our current ammo will just be set to our maximum ammo since we hit the max, and we're going to return the number of bullets that are left over. Alright, otherwise, current ammo plus equals number of bullets, return 0. Alright, so like I said, check and see if we're going over our maximum. If we are, subtract the difference, set our current to the maximum, and return what's left over. Otherwise, we just add the number of bullets to our ammo, and there's none left, so we just return 0. Okay. Alright, so we're going to make a very, very slight change to our start function. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make it protected, so it can be accessed from any class that extends from BaseWeapon, and we're going to make it virtual. Alright, so what virtual does is it allows us to override the start function, and basically if we open up our base entity script again, once it opens, we have just a base weapon as our current weapon. Alright, and what virtual allows us to do is it allows us to override whatever function is marked as virtual and call it from the base weapon class and get the inherited class's function, if that makes any sense at all. So let's say we were calling start for some random reason outside of this class. If this was not marked virtual, if this was just left as void, it doesn't matter if we were using the RPG or the machine gun, it would still only call what's in the base weapon start function. But if we set it to virtual and we had a we overrode the start method in RPG or in pistol, whatever if we called it from base entity, for example, whatever base weapon was attached to this variable would have its start function called instead of the base weapon start function. So if we had an RPG attached to our current weapon, the RPG's start function would be called instead of what's in the base weapon. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And basically we're just doing this so that if we set it to virtual, we can also in our extended classes, we can still call the old start function as well using base.start. it's not accessible from this class because it's extending from mono behavior. But if we were in the RPG class, for example, and we wanted to add more to the start function, we could call base.start. It would call everything in the BaseWeapon start function, and then we can continue to do whatever we wanted in the RPG start function. All right, and yeah, so what we're also going to do is we're going to set the fire method to be virtual as well. All right, because we might want the fire method to do something different in an RPG versus a machine gun. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if can fire can be called. So if can fire, or if can fire is true, if we can actually fire the weapon. So if can fire is equal to false, all right, because you can no longer fire. And we're going to start a coroutine, and we'll just call it weapon cooldown, and we will make that in 1 second. All right, and we're actually going to comment all of this out for now. I'm using mono behavior, so the shortcut is Control-Alt-C. All right, so that doesn't exist anymore. Now what we're going to, alright, whatever that was about. So if our current ammo is greater than 0, audio.clip is equal to shot fired audio, and we're going to play. And we're also going to play our muzzle flash like we did before. So muzzle flash.play. And we're going to call another method that we're going to be creating soon called shoot weapon. And we're going to subtract ammo from our ammo reservoir. Alright, so that's if our current ammo is greater than 0. And if it equals 0, we're going to set our audio clip to our out of ammo audio and audio.play. Alright, so we're going to check if we can fire the weapon. If we can, make sure we can't anymore and start the weapon cooldown. If we have ammo left, we're going to play our audio and our muzzle flash like we did before. We're going to call our brand new shoot weapon method, which we're going to be filling out shortly, and we're going to subtract ammo. Alright, and if we're out of ammo, we play our out of ammo audio. Alright, and that's it. That's it for the function. Alright, now we're going to fill out our shoot weapon method. It's going to be super easy because there's absolutely nothing in it, because it is an abstract method. Public abstract void shoot weapon. Alright, so what the poop does that mean? Basically, an abstract method is a method that is required to be filled in by any class that extends from BaseWeapon. So if you create an RPG class or a machine gun class and you don't create a shoot weapon method, you'll get an error saying that it's required because this method was marked as abstract. Alright, so this is going to make sure that there is a shoot weapon method in any class that extends from BaseWeapon. Alright, and then next we'll just make our weapon cooldown script. So we'll just go protected, IE numerator. Got to make sure it's IE numerator and not IE numerable, because it won't give you an error if you choose the other one, but it just won't do anything. So IE numerator, weapon cooldown, and we're going to yield return new wait for seconds, weapon cooldown, and then weapon can fire is equal to true. Alright, so I don't think I've touched on the coroutines at all yet. But basically what a coroutine allows you to do is do stuff alongside an update loop or just over time or after a delay. And it really makes a lot of things a lot easier for timing. And it cleans up your code as well. Because if you didn't have coroutines, you'd have to run it in the update loop and create a counter and a switch statement and all that kind of crap. And it's really not necessary when you can just do it this way. Yeah, so basically the weapon cooldown, you have to make sure you yield return when you're using a coroutine. And if you're trying to wait for a specific time in seconds, you return a new wait for seconds, and then however long you're waiting, and then you keep doing. And the great thing about these coroutines is that you can return multiple times and it'll still continue. Basically what it does is it'll wait for this to happen, and it'll do whatever's going on in between. And then once it's finished that, it'll get to the next yield statement, and it'll wait again, and then it'll continue on doing whatever it's doing. All right, so it's really nice to get like timed segments going if you're trying to do things at specific intervals, like what we're doing with the weapon cooldown. All right, so we will get rid of that. So yeah, there is only one more thing that we're going to modify, and that's going to be our onGui function. So we're also going to set this to be protected and virtual, and we're going to add to it because we want to display how much ammo the weapon has left. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is modify the skin of the GUI. And the reason we're doing this is because we want the text that is being displayed to look a certain way. If you just leave it the default, it defaults to just like left, like the upwards left or whatever, and we want it to just be the word I'm looking for. Basically, we want it to be aligned to the right of the screen. So to make sure it does that, we go to GUI.skin.label.alignment equals text anchor dot middle right. Alright, so now anything we do with GUI labels will be aligned to the middle right. Alright, and so let's make our label. So GUI.label, and we're going to create a new rect, and we want it to be in the bottom right corner. So what we're going to do is screen.width times 0.95, so it's like right to the right, and then screen.height times 0.98, so it's right down at the bottom, and then the width and height will just be what's left over, so screen.width times 0.05 and screen.height times 0.02. Alright, and then we will set what's going to be displayed in our label, which is going to be our current ammo plus a slash plus our maximum ammo. Alright, so current ammo slash maximum ammo makes it look like a fraction. We have 10 bullets out of 100 bullets, that sort of thing. Alright, so that should be it for our base weapon class. And yeah, so now we can actually start creating the machine gun and the pistol and the RPG. And honestly, these classes are going to be extremely basic. A lot of it's going to be copy and paste, because the only thing we really need to fill out now, since pretty much everything is set up in the base weapon, the only thing we really need to fill out immediately is our shoot weapon method, basically telling the weapon how it's going to react when the user fires it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we'll just create the pistol. Alright, so we'll go back in Unity real quick, and I like to be a little organized, so I'm going to create a new folder before I create the script, and we'll just call it weapons. Right, so this weapons folder will be under the my scripts folder. And in there, we'll just create our new C# script called pistol. Alright. And we'll open that up. And we're going to change our mono behavior to base weapon. Alright, so like I said, shoot weapon is abstract. So let's say we try to compile it. So I just hit F7 to compile it, and that error always comes up. And we'll just use Unity. We'll just go into Unity. It's going to give us this error that says pistol does not implement inherited abstract member shoot weapon. Right, so if we want to implement it, we're going to override shoot weapon, and it'll automatically fill this out, and it'll default it with this not implemented exception. So basically, overriding it will get rid of the error that we got, but if we try and call it, it'll throw a new error until we actually fill it in. Alright, so, and basically what we're going to do is just going to fill in what was in the old fire method. So we're going to get the raycast hit, called hit info, and then we're going to do our raycast. So if physics.raycast muzzle flash .transform.position transform.forward out hit info. Alright, so we're sending a raycast from the muzzle flash out forward and storing the information in the hit info, just like we did before. And just like before, we're going to check and see if the base entity is attached to it. So if hit info dot collider dot get component base entity is not equal to null, we're going to add our force. So hit info dot collider, oh no, wait, hit info dot rigid body dot add force at position, and then it was our force, which is transform.forward times 3000, because we just want to blow it away, and then our point is hit info dot point. Right, so like I said, just like before, and then but this time we're going to actually make the player take damage if you shoot it. So hit info dot collider dot get component base entity dot take damage, and then this is where our weapon damage field comes in. All right, yeah, so that's pretty much it for the pistol. That's all we have to do. Right, so if we were to use the pistol now, it should work perfectly fine. All right, and so while we're here, let's actually just create the pistol. So this is our test one, so we'll go back to ours, and we have our AK-47 there. We'll just quickly rename that AK-47, just so we know what it is. Alright, and yeah, so we will create a brand new game object, and let's put it under weapon position just so we can set it to 0. Right, so its position will be right where it needs to be. And let's drag our revolver into our game object. And holy crap, that's big. So let's scale that down to be a not ridiculous size. Sure. Lovely. And just to make sure it's in a good position, we will turn this off, and then we will move it around a little bit just so it's in the right view. Alright, we got it positioned, and now let's add our pistol script. So pistol. Alright, so I just searched pistol, dragged it on there. Shot fired audio. We'll just drag something out there. And out of ammo audio, we'll just drag another sound effect on there. Our muzzle flash, let's just reuse what we have. So we have the muzzle flash for the AK. Let's just duplicate it, Control D, drag it under our revolver, and we'll just move it in the right position. Sure, good. And our crosshair texture, let's search for crosshair. And then we'll set our actual muzzle flash to the particle system. Right? So now we should be able to drag our pistol onto our current weapon. And that's the other nice thing too, right? They all extend from base weapon, so it doesn't matter if you're using the machine gun or the RPG or pistol. The base weapon can still take your RPG or machine gun class. Alright, so now that we have our pistol, we should be able to just fire it, and we can't. And why is that, John? That is because we forgot to set a default value. Alright, so we're going to go back into our script. Now we want to, by default, be able to fire this weapon, so we're going to set it to true. Alright, so go back into your base weapon script and give canFire a default value of true. That way you can fire it right off the bat. Alright, so now once it compiles, we should be able to shoot it. And hit play. There we go. That's more like it. Isn't that fancy? Alright, and we also have the weapon cooldown, so if I just sit here and click like crazy, oh, I'm out of ammo. We'll just hit play again. But if I just sit here and click like crazy, it's not going to fire unless it's ready. Alright, so yeah. Yay! Even though we messed up a little bit. Yay! Alright, so we got our pistol going. Let's create our machine gun and our RPG. Alright, so we will create a new C# script under our weapons folder. And we'll just call this machine gun. Right, now that we have this open, honestly, right now, the pistol and the machine gun methods are going to be the exact same. They will change later, but for right now, just to get things working, we're literally just going to copy and paste our shoot weapon method from pistol to machine gun. Alright, oh, and we have to make sure that machine gun is extending from base weapon. And there we go. Machine gun done. Alright, if we go back to the AK-47 that was already created, and we replace our base weapon with our machine gun. Alright, we'll just get rid of that. Maybe if it lets us. Yeah. Remove component. Alright, so AK-47 now has our machine gun script. Just like before, we're going to set it up real quick with our sound and whatever else. So that's out of ammo. Our muzzle flash is already there. We'll search for our crosshair texture. And let's give it a smaller cooldown since it's a machine gun, so set weapon cooldown to 0.1. And yeah, so, and then now that that is set up, we will deactivate our pistol, reactivate our AK, and we're going to drag that back onto our current weapon to test it out. Alright, so we'll hit play. We have our AK ready. It shoots faster because we reduced the weapon cooldown, and it works just like before. And we're out of ammo. Alright? Cool. And now we have one left, and that's the RPG. And it's going to be a little bit different. For the most part, the method's going to be the same, but we're going to include an explosion wherever the RPG hits. Alright, so we're going to create another brand new game object, so Control-Shift-N, and drag it under weapon position, and we're going to reset the position so it's in the exact same position as the AK-47 and the machine gun. Alright, and we're going to drag out the bazooka under this game object, and we'll call it RPG. Alright, and where is bazooka? Bazooka is way over there for whatever reason, so we'll just reset that kind of stuff. Alright, reset the position and rotation. Alright, and the rotation for this RPG is really weird, so we're going to manually set it so it looks forward. Alright, so all we did was just rotate it, and now it's looking forward. Cool. Alright, and so we have that all set up. Let's duplicate the muzzle flash again, so Control D, and drag it under RPG, so it also has a muzzle flash. And now we can create our script for the RPG. So create C# script RPG. Alright, and we'll just open that up. So like before, we're going to extend from BaseWeapon, and we're going to introduce a new variable in RPG. Right, so we're going to go public particle system explosion equals null. Alright, and we're going to override our shoot weapon method. Now just like before, we're going to do the raycast hit and call it hit info, and we're going to check if the physics.raycast hits an entity or anything. So muzzle flash dot transform dot position and transform dot forward out hit info. Just like before, you're going to notice that a lot of this is pretty repetitive. If hit info dot collider dot get components base entity is not equal to null. Just like before, we're going to add our force and we're going to deal out the damage. So hit info dot rigid body dot add force at position transform dot forward times 3000 hit info dot point. Right, so we're going to apply it at our point, and then we're going to get the base entity component and deal damage. So hit info dot collider dot get component base entity dot take damage weapon damage. Cool. So just like before, it's literally just like before, where we're dealing damage to the base entity. All right. Now, this is where the particle system comes into play. We're going to create a variable called of a particle system, and we'll just call it PS for short. And we're going to instantiate the explosion particle that we set in here. All right, so we're just going to, basically what we're going to do is we're going to create a explosion particle system and set it as a prefab, and set that prefab to explosion in the editor. And then when you shoot the weapon, it's going to instantiate that particle system wherever you tell it to. All right, so instantiate our explosion object at hitInfo.point and give it a default rotation of just, quaternion.identity. All right, and we're going to cast it as a particle system. All right, we're going to play that particle system, and then we're going to destroy the particle system after 2 seconds. All right, so Basically, it's a one-shot particle system, and we don't want to have a whole crap ton of them just floating around in our level not being used. So we destroy it after 2 seconds to make sure that the particle system is done and over with, and it's not being used anymore. Alright? And that's really the only difference with the shoot weapon. It's just like the machine gun and the pistol, but this time we're going to shoot a particle system as well. Or a particle system is going to spawn where the bullet hit as well. Alright, so we have our RPG class filled in. So we'll just drag it onto our RPG object. And we will, yeah. So we have our RPG. We'll get our sound effects going, you know, reattach everything, muzzle flash, crosshair texture. So, you'll find a lot of this is kind of repetitive. Weapon cooldown, we'll just set it to 2 seconds so you're not, you know, firing these RPGs out like a machine gun. And then we'll create our explosion particle system really quickly. Alright, so let's create, let's do that right now. So create other particle system, and we, just like before, we get our fancy little weird particle system, and let's fiddle around with it. So looping, set that to off because we don't want it to loop. Start lifetime, set it to 1. Particles only going to last 1 second. Start speed, set it to 2, so they're only going to move at 2 meters a second, and that should be good for that stuff. Now emission. The rate is going to be 0 because we're not emitting over time. We're going to do a burst. So like before, this little plus sign, we'll click it, set the particles to 50 or something, and sure, we're going to have 1 burst of 50 particles right as soon as the thing is created. Alright, now we're going to edit the shape that it's spawning from. It defaults to a cone, but you can change it to a sphere, which is what we want to do. Alright. And we'll give it a random direction so that the particles just kind of go off in random directions. And we're going to change the color over lifetime. I am just going to give it random colors. You can make it look like smoke and fire and stuff like that. But I'm just going to do a random between 2 gradients. And to change the gradient, we'll just click on one. Now the top is for the alpha, so how see-through it is, and the bottom is the color. So I'm just literally going to choose random colors, and we're just going to go between them. Alright, so color, sure, green, why not, and orange, sure. Sure, so it's basically just going to lerp between these 2 gradients over time. Right, so if we hit simulate, that's what our explosion is going to look like. It's just a bunch of weird random colors. Right? Now that we have the explosion created, we're going to create a prefab and set the explosion to that prefab. Alright, so I have my prefabs. RPG explosion is created for our little test or whatever. So what we're going to do is just override that with the particle system we just created. So all we have to do is drag it on. It's going to ask us if we want to replace it. Yes, we do. And now the RPG explosion is what we just created. Alright, so we can get rid of that from the level. And if we go to our RPG and we drag our RPG explosion onto the explosion parameter, now wherever we shoot, it's going to spawn this object where we tell it to. Alright, so we're going to drag our RPG onto our character so we can test it out. So we hit play, and we fire, and we get our nice little explosion where we fired. And let's also change the position of our RPG because it looks kind of goofy like that, right? So we're going to select our bazooka, and we're going to move it back a little bit, and that looks better. Alright, so yeah, now if we hit play, it doesn't look quite as clunky, and bam, and bam. Alright, so now you know how to create multiple weapons extending from an abstract class, and how you can, they're easily interchangeable from scripts that are using the base class as a reference, and all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys have a little bit better understanding of virtual classes, or virtual methods, and abstract classes and methods, and just the usefulness of them. So yeah, that's good for now, and I'll see you guys next time with weapon pickups.